It's 3:35 in the morning, Saturday, May 30th. I thought I would address this Twitter stalker econ breakfast. When I noticed online, at first I was confused as to what his position was because he didn't seem really clear about his incessant sarcasm and mockery. He appeared to be obsessed with Brendan Farley. I think I originally thought he was far right. Then he seemed to be kind of trying to cozy up to Antifa. I think he's all over the place. I think he's probably raised Republican, conservative, probably money, probably severe Asperger's. He's extremely obsessive, only obsessed about me and Farley. He's even forgot to be obsessed with Andy No, which is just preposterous. I think there are a few good reasons to be obsessed with me. I have a huge amount of YouTube videos pertaining to activism stuff over the years that haven't been deleted. They haven't been watched very much. Occasionally, a video will be watched. Um, so it appears he was out at the protest. It looks like he took a little nap and went back out. And then, after checking in with his people, he says, "I'm home safe. I hope everyone else is as well." Okay, well, I guess that's positive. Yeah, maybe I just need to be more charitable towards this econ breakfast and not assume the worst. But the thing is today I had a really long conversation with a sock puppet account. Woody taught me about how upsetting this econ breakfast stalker is and the way the stalker wants to violate my private life, my identity. He's a disability basher, he's a poverty basher, he's a stalker of disabled people in federal housing, which is really stunning to me. He likes to violate disability law, he likes to ridicule people in the middle of the night to disrupt their sleep on his Twitter channel. He likes to block people so they have a harder time reporting his stalking. At this point, I'm reporting his Twitter stalking pretty much on a daily basis, either to Twitter support or I'll find select tweets that are offensive. He's not really a real journalist because he doesn't really have any news stories. He just has one story, which is snide remarks about me, usually. He used to have an obsession with Brandon Farley. I kind of human shielded, and like any bully, Econ Breakfast, who had bullied and stalked Brandon Farley at his home, triggering a lot of trauma, fear that he would become homeless due to having a male stalker or being punitized for having a male stalker. Um, they then engaged in basically a relentless bullying campaign on Twitter. So here he goes, one retweet, and he puts in quotation left wing activist. Then he says Mary Eng, which I've asked him not to call me Mary. He does not have my permission to call me that. I don't want to be called that by him. I consider it misgendering, and he's a militant trans hater on Twitter. So he militantly trans hates me by violating my gender specification. And then he says, comma, who has a longer anti-fascist resume than any of us Fs. I'm not shocked. And he says, looking forward to not watching more weird videos about how violent and phobic I am from a Brandon Farley, also Eli Ritchie fan. So basically, Econ Breakfast claims to be Jewish from California, I assume Republican California. He doesn't like black people, and Eli Ritchie is half black. And that's a big problem for Nick Lee. And Nick Lee also doesn't like Irish Americans, which no Irish need apply and no black people need apply. So he's running his little elitist country club. I think maybe going to synagogue will help sort this out. I really need a rabbi. I have a lot of emotional turmoil from other abusive Jewish men who have been in my life. And I really love the Jewish culture, but I don't like the misogyny in the Jewish culture. And it's unrelenting. It is sadistic, it is bullying, it is invasive. I had a long talk about how this person wants to profile me to make me more accessible to Christopher Guest Duffy, a Detroit madman, 1970, who slammed me down on a couch so violently it crushed my neck bones, pinning me, crushing my ribs, and rubbing his penis on my left thigh as he pinched my arms as I struggled to break my arms free, then struggled to break my legs free to try to kick him in the balls. And this man, this sexual assaulter who did Meals on Wheels and threatened me with his herpes, when I told him, "You're acting like an abuser, you're reminding me of an abuser," hired a lawyer to stalk me. And so I don't even know. I mean, there's a chance Econ Breakfast, EconBrkfst, could be a paid troll hired by the FBI to stalk me, to punish me for writing an FBI blog. He could be a wannabe police officer stalking me for testifying for the Department of Justice against police brutality. He could just be harassing me because he's the gay stalker of Brandon Farley, this good-looking friend of mine. I'm not sure. I think he fancies himself an anti-fascist researcher. He's on a few rosters. He doesn't have that many followers, but he's on a few rosters of anti-fascist organizing. And for the record, for the anti-fascist community, this stalker is doing a major disservice to anti-fascism. The N-word was deployed yesterday at the father of black children. I have black cousins because I go to a protest with the father of black children, and I have black cousins. I'm not allowed to go to this supposed anti-fascist Whitelandia protest where the N-word is deployed against the black baby's daddy. And that was captured on tape. It was disgusting. This man charged at me. His violence was misogynistic. Thank effing God, Luis Marquez, of all people, the Gemini, has denounced the use of the N-word. Luis blocked me when I just kind of pointed it out. Like, okay, I have an interview with Erin Campbell's sister. I have an interview with Christopher Kalanji's mom. I have multiple experiences assisting black police brutality victims or assisting advocating for disabled brutality victims and furnishing information towards better policing. So that record of fighting the brutality put me in the line of fire. So people like this Econ Breakfast Nick Lee, probably just fresh from California, doesn't even know what the F about Portland, has no understanding or knowledge. Here's what you need to do, Nick Lee. You need to go look under YouTube, and the algorithms are messy right now. I don't know why YouTube is acting funny, but look, MARYENG1, and then do hashtag Black Lives Matter, and then do hashtag Don't Shoot PDX, and then do Jesse Jackson. Go look at my Jesse Jackson footage from London, from the Bethel Black Church up in Northeast Portland. Look at it from the Ferguson protests here. I was raised in a community where there was a lynching of a little boy, and I really don't appreciate you continuing to tarnish my name and record with your creepy insinuations that I have anything to do with racism or far-right creepiness. You understand what I'm doing. I'm very interested in de-escalating any kind of right on left violence. I want an end to violence. I want women to be safe in this community. So you trying to frame me as some kind of collaborator on somebody else's misdeeds is absolutely incorrect. I'm an accessory to no one's crime. So bullying me is unacceptable. You need to apologize, and you need to stop tweeting my name out. That way, that name, that legal name has not been changed properly. Maybe you're pushing me to get it changed. So then what? I have to sue you for and like I've done a 10-year body of work under that name, but you don't have to tweet it all the time. You can respect my wishes, not to be demeaned by your misogynistic straight washing of my identity. You are interested in portraying me as a femme fatale that has stolen your little heterosexual crush boy that you stalked outside his window. You stalked him. He's gorgeous. You know it. You're obsessed and I'm obsessed. That's the only thing we have in common is Brandon Farley's good looking and talented. And I'm learning a few things from him because I like learning things. I like smart people. And I think he's growing and he's changing. We're studying the Norway Oslo terror attacks from Anders Breivik. I'm explaining to him the anti-racist scene in Sweden, which I've studied. There are a lot of things that you don't understand, Nick Lee. And you are not an authority on anything. You are a very immature person to continue to stalk me. I'm somewhat flattered that you're driving traffic to me by sensationalizing me to your little teenage groupies. I hope they will all show me the respect I deserve for the huge and tedious amount of time I've poured into my YouTube channel, into promoting Black rights, into promoting Black Lives Matter, and putting my neck on the line, which ultimately ended in police brutality against my body when the Portland police decided to retaliate. And there are many nice cops on that force who would not approve of crushing my wrist or crushing my bones or twisting my thumb. There are very nice cops that don't approve of effing with Mary Ang's body because she assisted a federal agency. You are tampering with a witness on a federal case when you tamper with me, and you need to take your responsibility seriously. Any further retaliation you do is a violation of the U.S. Department of Justice settlement agreement, which is still under review under Judge Michael Simon's court. You should show up to that trial. Why don't you show up to the next status conference at the U.S. District Court of Portland? Why don't you sign up to testify as to what the pattern and practice of police brutality is in this city? Whether or not people with disabilities are treated properly? Whether or not the DOJ is whitewashing the racism in this city? Why don't you show up to City Council and talk about the legacy of having a neo-Nazi on the police force, Mark Kruger, like I did? That was an anti-fascist action. I chose to be a public person. I didn't choose to be under a mask. But I am asking you, as a good activist, to stop putting my neck on the line. Stop blasting it to high heaven that you're a creepy, whiny stalker who's obsessed with me. Get a life. There are other cool activists out there. There's so many cool activists that deserve this attention. But you could do it in a positive way. You don't have to put such a negative spin. I know you had a lot of child abuse in your life. You need to cut it out and stop implementing abuser strategies on people who should be your allies. It's pathetic. It's deranged. It's highly alarming. If I knew where you lived, I'd send you a welfare check. You are deeply deranged to continue to stalk me when I've asked you nicely. I've looped in the police forces that are relevant to the crimes which I've reported in relevant jurisdictions. And you won't stop. I wouldn't trust you around any children, okay? I wouldn't trust you around a family member of mine. I don't like what you're doing in the way of stalking. I hope you are not a violent psychopath. I hope. But I'm deeply concerned that you continue to send my image out there, continue to profile me, and continue to mischaracterize me. The only positive I can really see in this is that your harassment of me has completely sidetracked you from your normal victims, which was my goal. So thank you for falling into my trap. You fell into my trap, which is harass me, because I know my record. I know that I stood up against everything from the FBI to the Portland police to a brutal cop named Carl Klent, a Nazi cop called Mark Kruger, an incompetent cop, possibly brutal, Sueta. I saw Birkenbein testify. I did research on that case. I got to sit in Judge Immergut's court. I'm deeply honored by the service and legacy I provided for this city. And there's a lot more work to do, and this is not it. Harassing Mary Eng, this persona in your mind, who stole your red balloon because you wanted to just hate on Brandon Farley for the end of your days and call him try to allege that he's Jeremy Christian. That's not really flying. Why don't you get your little whiny brat, stalker, teenager, violent creep bags off people's backs? They're a bunch of chihuahuas. Let journalists be journalists. This nation was founded on freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of conscience and freedom of assembly. And you guys trying to enforce your doctrinaire totalitarian thought control, which is absolutely and utterly fascist. It is absolutely a misnomer to characterize what you do as anti-fascist. You are pro-fascist, you are pro-dictatorship, and you comport yourself as if you're some little 32-year-old dictator, or whatever the heck your age is. And I'm deeply sorry that you think that's okay. And if you want to date me, freaking call me, email me, and we can have coffee. I don't feel that I'm attracted to you in that way. I don't know who and what you date, but I am not interested in you. That my Twitter page is not a dating page. I do not want my personal life scrambled up by your twisted sensationalist soap opera approach to life. It is utterly disgusting. You've been trying to ruin my life for months on time. You are a serial predator who have many victims, Brandon Farley and Eli Ritchie among them, and you do seem to have a racial vendetta against Asian people, women, like trans men, and you've had a lot of trauma in your life. I intervened on your behalf to get Brandon Farley to stop sending you creepy emails, and you owe me a big, big thank you for that. Thank you, Mary Eng, for de-escalating Brandon Farley. Why don't you go de-escalate your little hot topic wannabe fake anti-fascists? Get them some real work to do. This harassing people like a chihuahua at little protests and bullying black allies or people with, hundreds of Black Lives Matter videos, like 50 at a time per Ferguson protest, and you want to harass me all day? You need to do your research, and you're not doing your homework. It's not a contest, but being a good human being, something I hope you get around to doing. And if not, just have a nice time being creepy, I guess. But it's kind of sickening, and I've seen cruelty before. I'm just not in the mood to see it again. I fought off a stalker last year. But you want to be the stalker of 2020? Stalker of the Year, Econ Breakfast. I guess that's what I'll call this film. And thanks to the Portland police for all the many times they did help me. They screwed up sometimes, but they also helped me sometimes. So if you want to call me a copsucker, you're the ones who are so proud when they retaliated against an activist. So proud when you can bully someone into a corner and get them on a jaywalking ticket. You guys are acting as if you're a secret police unto yourself. Stop putting a target on my back. Stop fueling other stalkers. And stop being a misogynistic pig. And stop calling me Mary Eng. I've asked you to call me Ransom Eng only if you must tweet about me. And I've asked you not to tweet about me. Oh, Econ Breakfast. You're such a lost little child. You need a big sister. You need a mentor. I'm willing to be your friend if you want it, but you need to be a lot better. You are not a good friend, and stalking is not the way to gain a friendship. You need to learn some manners and be more polite. Don't call people murderers the way you used to do to Brandon Farley. And don't talk about their genitals online. It's very, very frightful. We don't want to hear about Brandon Farley's genitals on Twitter. That's very immature, very disgusting, and it's sexual harassment. Yes, you are a sexual harasser, and you are sexually harassing me by sexualizing me and trying to invade my privacy in every possible way, including defame me with your gender bashing quest. I think you can stop it. And I'm going to get more good footage of Brandon Farley. So I know you love it. You're addicted to him. You're obsessed with him. And incidentally, you're obsessed with me now. But we can work something out where maybe we can all have a dialogue, if that's what you want. But you're little blocking me so you can stalk me without me having an easy way to report you. Like, that's getting really old. I don't think anti-fascism is going to be too cool with what you're doing. If there even really is an like Ryan Shapiro in Santa Cruz. look that guy up. That guy likes me. That guy follows me. He's a effing real mensch. He's like a real deal dude. He's like the coolest dude on the planet. Ryan Shapiro. Like a real anti-fascist. He's not a freaking ass being such a stalker. God, I'd be honored to be stalked by Ryan Shapiro. He's just so gorgeous. But that's a different story, Econ. You need to grow up and act mature.